Hello and welcome to D6 Damage Wargaming. And tonight we are doing another DamageCast. We're going to be covering our warbands in Warcry and upcoming campaign. Okay, welcome to DamageCast. If you are new around here and you like what you see, don't be shy. Give us a subscribe, maybe even a like. If you don't like it, unsubscribe. Simple as that. But Paul, Paul, what have you been up to? Mate?
Hi, yes. I've been hobby-wise. I've been quite busy actually. I've been sat here at my lovely little desk, tucking away into what I've been doing. I've been finishing off the Blood Bowl stuff. So I finished off the troll. He got finished off, and I tackled the elf for the elf ref, which was fun. Yeah. I had my first attempt at painting stripes on something. You know, being really delicate, putting some freehand detail on things, which was fun.
Yeah,
it actually came out all right. Actually, it didn't. I think I posted it up in the group.
I have seen a picture. Yeah. It does look good.
Yeah, that was daunting. I was sat there going, so it basically looked like a doctor holding up a red card to start with, and I was like, I've got to put the lines on. You have to put the lines.
Yeah.
So I tucked into that, got that out of the way, and I think it came out all right. I'll get some yet again. I need to get stuff on my Instagram, so I think I'll have props tomorrow. I'll have a sit down and bash a load of stuff up onto Instagram.
Cool.
So yeah, so that's Blood Bowl done. I've just been finishing off the little tokens, the little coins.
Oh yeah.
The balls, the little tiny balls. Because I know I haven't magnetized mine to take the balls on the stand, so we just place little balls on the bases, don't we, when we play?
Yeah.
These are the most annoying, sharp, spiky little things I've ever touched.
Oh, they're terrible.
So I'm surprised I haven't lost them yet. So yeah, I've got them finished off. They just need a dry brush, I think, because you know how it'll go. I'll spend like 5 hours doing those when sit.
It's completely unnecessary.
Box. But you know, I'll spend time in it. The other thing I'm just finishing off now is I'm doing my bases for my Blood Angels Death Company. So I've been, because I'm using the Assault Intercessors as them, and their poses are so cool. Their action poses work really well. So obviously you've got to give them a nice base. Now, I think you'll agree with this. Is I love seeing a model with a really good scenic base. It really sets the scene on it. So I'm just trying out some new techniques with that. I've started using up old sprue as rubble.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, because I've been basically sat here with loads of sprue sat around me as I've been cutting out stuff, going, there's got to be use for this. Got to be use.
Yeah.
It's like the amount of plastic we must throw away as hobby gamers.
Unreal.
Yeah, so I was like, there's got to be use for it. And I think I saw a YouTube video or a thumbnail on there showing it that people have been using it for bases, for rubble on board bases. So you know, like in Necromunda and that, the big tiles.
Yeah.
Being using as rubble. So I thought, okay, that's a cool thing. And I've got some of the smaller sprues, you know, like with the Blood Bowl stuff, the smaller ones that are really thin.
Yeah.
And I've been chopping them up, and it does actually look quite good. I've got one dry brushed and painted, dry brushed with a bit of non-oil on it. It does look like brick. It does look like rubble. So that's the way I've been going with that. And yeah, that's what I'm just tucking into now, is trying to get those bases on and get them stuck on. So yeah, excellent. That's what I've been doing. What you been up to?
Well, I've been finishing off my Blood Bowl stuff as well. They're a lot more involved than I thought they were going to be, if I'm completely honest. the Wargaming barons.
Yeah,
They're
I can
just
see they would be.
yeah, they're just like, because I noticed a lot of people online have either just completely removed the feathers and any of the pomp and fanciness on them, and just gone like bare bones. So they're just like armored dudes, especially with Griff Oberwald, because he is a non-flying human that's got 4 wings on him. So because he's got the bird, which a lot of people haven't put on, but I've put it on. It's a bird, an eagle carrying his medals of greatness. So that's just the most arrogant thing ever.
Why would you not want that? That is so pompous. I
Yeah.
love that. If I had an option to have that, I would.
Yep. Yeah. You're going to go out to play. Would you like an eagle to carry you? Yes. You don't have to finish that sentence. Yes.
I mean, even if I had a shrew carrying like my medal, you know, fine. I've got some sort of animal carrying my medal.
Come on, Alan. I don't know why the shrew's called Alan. All the feathers. People cut the feathers off. People cut this, that, and the other off. They've got a lot of ribbons and bows and stuff. But I've done like a mix of airbrush work with oils and stippling and all sorts to get the metal really shiny, but keep the clothes all drab, and like their legs are all dirty and stuff. But I don't know how many you get there. What is it? You get 12 guys, Griff and the ogre. So what? 14 guys, and they took probably about 10 days of coming out into my garage for a couple of hours a night to get them to that point. Because some of it, I've done the first 7 single. I painted each one separately because I thought, right, I've done a lot of batch painting, so I don't want to kill this. Do you know what I mean? And so I thought I'd pay a bit of attention to each bloke. And once I've done the first 7, I was like, I felt a bit refreshed. So I was like, I can tackle the last lot. So I've done the first half of the team and Griff all separately, and then I've done the second half of the team and the ogre separately. But I batch painted the second half and the ogre, and so I almost had like a palette cleanser of doing little single models, and then it was like, right now I've got the minerals to take on another batch here. But I got those done, and then like yourself, I'm doing the tokens and that at the moment, and I'm painting the dwarf ref. So and the dwarf ref is 90%. Oh no, that's a lie. He's 40% beard, 50% giant book of grudges, and then about 10% dwarf. It's not a lot. There's like it's a beard with arms and a book on its back. That's what it is basically.
So are you going to do the lined shirt as well?
Oh yeah.
Whatever part of the shirt is showing.
Well, it looks like he's wearing he's wearing a shirt, but the thing is, he's wearing a shirt, but it's like a dress because it's so big. It's a normal size shirt, so he's not got like trousers and a shirt. He's wearing a t-shirt that's too big for him. so
like when Gimli puts on the armor,
it is exactly that. Yeah, it's a little tight around the chest.
Love it.
But yeah, I'm gonna have a attack at that this week. I could get that done pretty quick. I think what I'm because there's not a lot of flesh on the barons, because you've seen a picture. They're mostly a picture that you can see on my Instagram. The faces and maybe a couple of elbows you can see flesh wise. Well, the fat bodyguards, their guts are hanging out underneath their armor, which is pretty cool. I like that. You got like dad bods, and then you've got but the what's he called, the dwarf, he's got like his arms are really muscular, and his face, and so I'm going to I'll get a bit more involved on the flesh on that. So I'll do like underspraying with the airbrush, like different skin tones, because he's a little bit, and he's a single model, so I feel like I should put a bit more into him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I've got a couple of the old cheating ultra fine line markers to do some black and white, some black stripes. Yeah, I don't understand how anyone can control a brush that well to get perfect lines.
To be fair, I use the thin liner as well, the one that you gave me. I used that to start with, but then I couldn't get up. Like there was bits where I had to get up into where the hair goes.
Yeah.
and I couldn't get close enough with it, and I was just like, this is gonna bug me. So basically I went round, drew in the lines of where I wanted them to be, and I did a quick crosshatch so I knew which one were the black lines, which one were the white lines, and then went back over with a really fine brush with paint.
Yeah,
that's basically how I did it.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah,
So I used the pen technique.
Yeah, I've done that on some of my Necromunda bases when I've done the chevrons. I've used the pen to get the lines to get where I know where I'm going, so I've got like more control, and then gone back in with like black on a brush and just sort of like not neaten it up, basically like blocked it out with the brush. So it's the same deal, but like a much smaller scale, I guess.
Yeah.
But that'll be all right. But basically, mate, that is what I have been working on this. But I've done a bit of building. I've built up my plague furnace chimney thing. Those words they make up for Nurgle stuff. The fecundant. Oh no, that is actually a word. But they're like the fecundancy malignifying magnifier. The plague chimney. That thing. They do, don't they? With all Nurgle stuff, they just seem to have they get a thesaurus, and then they get the word filth, and then run it through a thesaurus, and then use every single. Yeah, but I've built up. I just been building. I built Typhus. I built the Lord of Virulence. So I've got once I'm done with painting some fantasy stuff for a minute, I'm looking over there because that's where it is. When I'm done painting some fantasy stuff for a minute, do you know what? In fact, my next plan is once I finish this Blood Bowl stuff, is to paint up that my half of the catacombs terrain. So I'll get that done first.
Yes, yeah. No, I've got the scatter terrain. I still don't know what colour to do it. I still I want to tie it in with the board, and I'm just trying to figure out how to do that because I managed to tie in the first Warcry terrain with the board accidentally, but now I want to go down the same, not spend hours trying to make sure it's the same shade and that. Just go for the same sort of color tones.
Yeah.
So then it sort of blends in with the board, so it does make it feel like it's part of the board.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, that's why I've been doing Blood Angel bases instead of doing the terrain because I just don't want to do the terrain.
Yeah.
Basically, it's just it's just there looking at me over my shoulder. I'm just like,
if you want to start it,
no one's done it.
You've got to you want to start it. You've got to almost be like, right, for an hour, I'm going to sit and stare at this mindlessly before I even think about what I'm doing. Because I do it all the time. I'll be sat here staring at something. I'm like, I should go in. I'm not here. Do you know what I mean?
I've not done anything.
Yeah. I've just wasted time, if anything.
Yeah, because I mean, like you were saying with the batch painting, it does get tedious. That's why I think with my Blood Bowl orcs, I was doing 2 at a time.
Yeah.
Because you could sit there, paint a bit on one, then move. Because plus I've only got 2 of these paint handles, so put one down whilst that one's drying. Do the other one. And basically doing that.
Yeah.
Which works really well. Because also looking at your human team, the Von Pompous,
the Boggenhoff and
feathers.
Just say the Barons.
The Barons, that's it. The Barons.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be a nice striking contrast because you've gone for a really dark scheme. With your guys and my orcs, I've done their skin bright green.
Oh, it's ultra bright, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. It's I've actually used this moot green because the moot green because I absolutely love it because it's just so bright.
Yeah.
But I've gone with any metal plate on there is really dark. But then because I was going to go with I was going to do the white chevron, not chevrons, but the white spiky things on there.
Yeah.
Shoulder pads because but I haven't got around to doing that because again I don't want to fluff it and get it wrong. Then I have to repaint a whole model. But I think they look good where they are. I've got them all set up on the shelf behind me. They look good. I don't need the white on there because I think the bright green contrasts well with the armor, but then they're going to contrast really well against your guys.
Yeah.
Being dark, gloomy, and oil washed.
Well, it's it's almost like with your guys, it's the flesh that really draws your eye, and with my guys, it's more the armor that draws the eye. Do you know what I mean? because my guys, the armor on him is like
Yeah.
polished gold, but it's obviously like dirtied up. But I've like brought it back up to polished gold in places. So yeah, with my guys, are going to be like you're not really looking at their skin and stuff. It's like they're just shiny armor, and then your guys, the armor is secondary to their like predator blood coloured skin. Yeah,
I wish
cool.
she's got some fluorescent glow in the dark paint.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's going to look. It's going to look so good on the board. It's going to work really well. Just
Yeah,
need to get around
hopefully.
to
I mean,
playing it.
yeah, exactly. Actually get a game in, it'd be nice. Cool. I think that could lead us in though, mate, because I think that's pretty much hobby time sorted, isn't it?
Yeah, that's everything that I've been up to.
Yeah, cool. Okay, we'll go into the actual subject proper then. If we go over basically lore for our warbands, so our chosen warbands, I'm going with the Scions of the Flame, and you have gone for the Khainite, not Canaanite, Khainite Shadow Stalkers. And what we do here, if we go into a bit of a dive into the lore behind them and how maybe you would put your own personal spin on it in regards to into the campaign that we'll play. So if I let you take the floor on what you're going to say about your Shadow Stalkers, mate.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I mean, from what I've listened to and read about the Shadow Stalkers, is basically they've gone into the 8 points, found their way into the Varanite, or what's his name? The Varanthrax's Maw, the entrance to the catacombs. They've gone in there to find the Varanite to basically steal it. So that mate, Snaky Rara, forgot his name again.
Oh, Archeon.
What's his name? Archeon, the big evil dude, the main dude that everyone hates.
Yeah, like the main character. Yeah,
him. He's not so evil if you just like give him a pet name. It takes away
Flappy
his
Snaky Ra.
vicious Flappy Snaky Ra. Yeah. So the Marathi has sent her Shadow Stalkers to go in there to basically get the Varanite out and take it away from basically chaos, so they can't use it to break into Azir and ruin everyone's day by going into Sigmar's realm. And
Party poopers.
Party poopers basically. But yeah, the law basically from what I read, Marathi has had, because obviously where she's such a powerful wizard, this is all going into the Broken Realms now, is where she's such a powerful wizard, but she's not quite a god. She's upset by this. So she needs this Varanite, and she's gonna the main plan is she's gonna put this Varanite into a pocket realm. So basically chaos can't use it to basically, destroy the worlds and realms and all this. So
these elves love their pocket realms.
They do. This is what they're weak. This is where they hide in their pocket. So obviously Marathi's got other plans for the Varanite. So she's basically just trying to steal it, and she's using basically assassins, which would be assassins and sort of, was it the Doomfire Warlocks from the good old days of Dark Elves, sending them in to covertly steal it, which is basically, and they've gone in there with Stormcast Eternals as well. So there's going to be a whole, I haven't read any of the Broken Realm stuff yet, but it feels like there's going to be a lot of trouble coming for Sigmar and his friends. So yeah, I mean, that's the basic lore that I've gone with them. Like I said last time, I loved the Dark Elf stuff. I just loved the shadow magic they had, just basically all underhandedness, all backstabbing, all out for their own personal gain. Yet they had the slyness about them. I liked how the assassins that you could hide in the old fantasy blocks of your elves. If you had the main guy, you could. If you just had a normal assassin, they had to stay in a group, in a block or a unit. Sorry. But if you had the head assassin, I can't remember his name. Now. I've got the model for him as well. You could jump him about, so you could then utilize him wherever you wanted him to pop out and like basically try to kill someone.
That model was epic as well.
Yeah. I think that's like the first epic pose I remember seeing him, where he's leaping off the old.
Yeah, his cape's all like flapping behind him. That as well.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's why I like the idea. I mean, I've got a Stormcast army at the moment. So, and like I said, I've got Dark Elf army. So I like the idea of these guys working together for now.
Yeah.
And then then finding out what's going to go on from there.
It's a shaky alliance.
So yeah, well, Marathi, she's a cunning one. And like even Sigmar knows that she can't trust her. But he knows that this Varanite is too powerful to just leave to chaos.
Yeah.
So and Archeon, you can't let her just leave Archeon to have it, because yet again, if these rumors are true, he's going to use it to break open the lock, basically the lock
the
that
gates
they've
of
got
Azir.
on. Yeah. If they use it on that, it's game over. But have you heard like what the 8-point realm stone is supposed to be like? It's kind of
it's like veins of blood running through the 8 points. Like almost, I imagined it like veins of gold or veins of iron, like metal ore, but it's liquid, so it is actually like the lifeblood of the realm.
Yeah,
yeah,
because I've seen it described as boiling gore. So it's just basically it's just like boiling blood.
Yeah.
So I can imagine Marathi is just going to be pouring it into some sort of giant cauldron, just storing it,
bathing in it. Yeah.
Oh yes. So I think I like the underhanded. I like the fact that at the moment the elves are good for now. Even though I did like the dark elves being like evil elves, as they had like their own chaos god to worship.
Khaine.
But I think I'd like the underhandedness that's going to be coming with them, and collecting this Varanite stuff.
Yeah,
which just sounds disgusting as it is, and it's so hard to find, especially in the catacombs. Yeah, no, so yeah, that's basically the lore I'm going to go with. What I have, the personal lore, I haven't quite made up my mind where I'm going to go with it, because yet again, we haven't had a chance to play with them, and I haven't had a chance to see how they're going to play. I haven't come up with a backstory of what they're going to be doing yet, personally, for my guys. So yeah, it's just, that's basically what I've come up with. I know, so this is why I know why the Khainite Shadow Stalkers are in the 8 points underneath it in the catacombs, and yeah, I just want to see what our campaign will be to what we find.
Cool. I like that. Cool. I think I'll go on to mine. So
yeah, what's your one?
With the Scions of the Flame, they're all like warrior priests from Akshi, and they've like hard left turned.
That wasn't too obvious.
Oh yeah, they've hard left turned into the whole fiery priestiness, and they're like, I like the fact that they're basically zealots. They're just nutters that have just gone a bit too far with it, really. And then when so before they go into battle, they'll eat the heart of I can't remember its name now, like a magma drake thing, and they'll eat its heart, and if you've got the minerals, it will like just empower you, and it will harden you, and then you can channel those flames into your weapons. Or like my favorite guy in the warband, what's he called, the immolator, the guy whose weapon is on fire.
He's on fire.
That guy, and so he's literally brought his fists to a he's brought his fists to a knife, sword, and lash fight. Like, yeah.
Okay. Now I understand why they're on fire. They've gone a bit too far with their religion. Okay, that makes sense.
Basically, yeah. So he turns up and goes, right, we're ready, and that's it. And then where was I going with this? Yeah, they what was I covering? They eat the hearts. Yeah, and if they haven't got the minerals, they just it burns them to death. Basically, they eat it and it just annihilates them. Which is that's a bit of a literally a trial by fire. Do you know what I mean?
Literally.
Yeah, it literally is. Like you turn up and you think, right, I'm ready for this, and then everyone's like, no, you ain't, mate. But I'm thinking because I like the whole lore behind them is basically they worship the flame, and then and the magic around it, and Archeon or the flames that his wars they just engulf everything it touches. So like the slaves of darkness will roll through all the Varangard, everyone, and everything just burns. And obviously that is right up the Scion. That's right up the Scion's street. And they basically they worship the cleansing flame of chaos, essentially. And
nice.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. And I think I really like. I don't know. I like that. I like the fact because when I first saw them, I thought when it was like they were to do with the catacombs box, I just assumed they lived in the catacombs. But then all the other warbands from the original warbands, they're all from a different realm, aren't they? So like the realm of Gur for the untamed beasts, etc. So I don't know why I didn't put two and two together. But I'm trying to think of like why I know they'd be there for the reason of the flame and stuff, but have my guys been there for a while? Do you know what I mean? Have they set up their own thing? Because the Varanthrax's maw is gargantuan, isn't it? It's like the corpse of a god beast that's full of tunnels and like underground cities and forges. Because some of the artwork for the forges just looks amazing, doesn't it? Like you've got like
definitely,
all the chains. They look like a Rammstein video. It's just like industrial flames and lava pouring everywhere. And so I think that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with like they're basically lost in there.
Yeah.
I want
it's
them
never
to
changing.
Yeah,
thing, isn't it?
It's like a labyrinth.
It's like the film The Cube. It's like it changes every so often.
Yeah.
Which I love that film. Because I did. That was the thing before when we got the catacombs. It's like, oh, elves. I'll go for the elves. I've already got some. Didn't even think why they would be there, and then it was starting to play on me, going, hang on, why are the elves there? What are the catacombs? Why are we fighting in the catacombs? Is it just one room that we're just fighting? Because obviously when you get the board, it's just that room. It's like, hang on, so out of all the realms and all the places, we've all come into this one room to have a little scrap for something. And it's like, that didn't make
pretty
sense.
Important room.
Yeah. So obviously now knowing that obviously there's a lot going in there essentially Order have gone in there to find this Khainite. And it's like, okay, that makes sense why they're there now. And then obviously it's like, but then how big is this place? And then obviously listening to some lore videos and that, it's like, okay, this place is massive. This is an old god beast. And it's like, and I think, was it Doug on 2 Plus Tough was saying that like some of the rooms you go in are like living walls. So they're still oozing and like you're in like literally in the throat of a beast sort of thing.
Yeah.
So everything's covered in mucus, and then you go into a room like the board, and it's set up like a cavern.
Yeah,
so it's just like there's a whole depth to it and like with like you mentioned the forges and that, there's actual like pockets of settlers living in this giant catacomb, which changes. And it's like, okay, this is starting to make sense now.
Yeah. So that's I think that's why I've sort of I want to go down that route of like these guys. They're a bit nomadic in there because they've gone in there and it's so vast that they're like, right, we're looking for the flame and we can't quite find it. But I've got an idea going down that route. Got an idea for a subject we'll cover in a little bit a bit later as to what I can have tying into that. I know that's a little bit cryptic, but I don't want to spoil it for later. I don't want to ruin the good stuff yet.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah, but
A little
as
teaser. I like.
if you will, the
Keep on edge.
the that's basically like the prescribed law, I suppose. You know, like the warrior priestess and all that.
Mm.
But as for like the personal stuff, like I say, I'd like them to be like a bit nomadic and they're lost in there. But like as for like their little stories, do you know how a character will earn a name?
Yeah.
You know, over the
That's
course
his
of the
way.
over the course of the thing, they learn their name, and then you get to fall in love with that character. I mean, other people might not, but if you fall in love with your little plastic toys and give them names, drop a comment below.
Shariah.
Yeah,
I love you, Shariah.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, bless her. Boss drama. She. Oh, I think of her every night. But yeah. I think I'm gonna pick a what's it called? A fated quest. I'm gonna pick a fated quest, and then I think I'm gonna let their story sort of like form organically. Do you know what I mean? So as I'm playing, as stuff happens, as someone does something cool or completely fails, that's gonna like evolve their little story.
I think that's definitely the way to do it, because I think that's, well, apart from I know my guys are in there to steal stuff, that I haven't really got anything else to go on until a fated quest is given, and then there's a focus, and then you go, right, okay, this is what we're here for, and then how they plan out. That's when obviously we can give our tiny toys a backstory.
Yeah,
bring them to life.
Brilliant. But I'm pretty much covered on what I'm going to do lore wise there, mate. You?
Yeah. I mean, there's still plenty of the whole going into the broken realms, which I think has opened up this whole catacombs like lore of it, which wasn't ever a thing before, because we were just fighting in the 8 points. Now we've got another level to the 8 points. Literally, we're underground. It's because there's the thing with the 8 points, there really wasn't much lore from what I've read and listened to. It was literally the gate to each realm, and you had the Archeon's main building and one other city, I think there was.
Yeah, you had the Varan Spire. Oh, the other city.
You got the Varan Spire. Something
yeah,
something like that. So there wasn't really much lore in there, because you're like, okay, this place is obviously heaving. That's it. Yes, Khainite.
Yeah.
I think I'm putting my money on Khainite.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got this whole realm, which is obviously a key linchpin to every other realm. This is where Chaos is like home base at the moment, where they're just like sways of Chaos, just like fighting each other because they're waiting to get let out. So you didn't really have much lore on this, but I feel like the way this is opening up the lore into this realm that we haven't heard much, or it's been there for quite a while. It's the main key point. No, it's good. I'm liking where this is going.
I mean, there's what's it called? There's a few novels for Warcry, which I'm sure do go into it a bit more. There was some stories about individual warbands. So there was the one about what the Tzeentch wizardy ones called? What are they called? The Cypher Lords. There was the one about them.
Cypher Lords, yeah.
It went through like the guy the leader. I can't remember what the leader was called. And how he's basically got everyone enthralled to him. So when he goes into a city and he's like, he's just surrounded but no one can get near him. These bodyguards, and like they don't ever speak to each other. Like stuff just happens because he's just mind controlling everyone. And
nice,
it's just like there's some really cool stories like that. So there is some lore going into it, but I think you're right. There's like it was like you sort of plonked into that realm, if you will, and then
I think because I think it's trying to flesh out the realms, because it's going from the old world, which is essentially Earth, a world within space, a galaxy. It had some realism to it. Now you've gone into this whole thing where everything's exploded, and you've gone into the realms of magic, which have formed their own realms. But then, like, is the realm? What is a realm? How is a realm formed? You know, and then obviously as stuff's come out, they're like disc world essentially with their own like special stones and minerals to realm stone to basically fuel each realm.
Yeah.
And this is what everyone's after in each realm. Because like what is it? The Haish? Is it no? Actually,
Yeah.
it's like a realm of fire, and there's like there's cities in there, the people living there, but it's on fire. How people? It's that. What's that meme with that dog sat there going, "Everything's fine,"
This
with
is
all the
fine.
fire around it.
Yeah.
It's like, it was like I didn't understand. Like, how do people live in a realm of fire when everything's on fire? And then you realise, oh, wait a minute, not everything's on fire. Just fire is more prevalent.
And everything's a bit spicy. It's a bit warm. Yeah.
Yeah. You just want to take shirt and shorts, maybe some flip flops.
Yeah. You ain't gonna need. You won't need a jacket. Never sandals, no.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna need a jacket. But I understand what you're saying, because it was like because what is it? Is it? I think it's Hammerhall that's over 2 realms.
Yes.
And it's half in Akshi and half in Garan. I think that's right. Yeah. And like they trade with each other through the realm gate and stuff, and that is really cool. And like you say, they're doing that a bit with this now. They've gone like, this is the 8 points. Have a ruck. There's a city. There's the Varan Spire, and they go into depth on how the Varan Spire looks. So it's like rings of fortresses, and then each one gets even more brutal as you go in until you've got the Varan Spire in the middle, and Archeon's throne is in there, and he never sits on it. And his throne is made of the solidified souls of the kings that he has killed. And that's a cool throne, isn't it? And
that is a cool throne. Doesn't sound comfortable, but it sounds cool.
I know. I expect you can make it quite comfortable. Just like use some fat kings. And some
throw pillows.
He never sits in it, because he won't ever sit in it until he has conquered everyone. That's when he's allowed to sit down. That's a good work ethic. And then you can rest when you're dead. And but that's where you get like the stuff from, I can't remember what it was from now. The Slaves to Darkness new like battalions. There was the Knights of the Empty Throne, and they are the Varangard. That they are like Archeon's personal bodyguard, and they're the ones that knock about at the Varan Spire all the time. And they are, like rules wise, you can use them as a HQ, and they become a character, because they are the representatives of the Empty Throne, because Archeon will never sit in it, and while he's off whispering to Slanesh or whatever he's doing. But it's like they went a bit deep onto that. That was cool. I really enjoyed all that stuff. But it's nice that with like the catacombs and Varan Thrax's Maw, that they've pulled Varan Thrax's Maw into what is essentially the new main story arc for Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They've pulled that in and given a reason for Order guys to be going in there to get stuff. Because like you said with Varanite being like the realm stone of the 8 points, and it's like, if you take them all out, they're basically warp stone from the old world. Because they're like magical stone, but they're formed differently. So in Shaiish, it's grave sand, so it's like just sand basically. And that was a really interesting point. I was listening to a thing the other day. It just reminded me about the magic in all of the realms is on the outside. So in the middle, it's more ordered. In the middle of the realm, everything's a bit normal and whatever. And then further you get out, the more that realm becomes like what it is. So in the realm of Akshi, the further you got out to the edge, there would be, everything would be on fire. But and in the realm of metal, the further you go outside, you ain't eating none of that fruit. Then around whatever. But it's always you go into the outside. But then what's his face? Nagash got all the skeletons over to, because all Nagash he's got the most time ever. You can't beat Nagash, because he will just outlive you. You will die one day. You'll die one day.
Time wins.
And so he got the grave sand was too heavy for anyone to carry any more than one grain of sand. So he sent armies of skeletons out, and each one was bringing back 1 grain of sand at a time. And they were so powerful that if you dropped that grain of sand, it would just explode and blow everyone up around it. So
Jesus.
And so he brought it all into the middle of the realm, and which threw it all out of whack because there's no, like, do you know what I mean? It's the complete opposite. And I've gone off on a tangent there, a right old tangent, but that was cool. Like, it's just like the way that each realm stone is different and stuff.
This is it. This is what they're slowly doing. Because I think obviously from when we played fantasy, it was the lore that drew us in, because I knew that's what drew me into the Dark Elves, and that's why I never used to have the best army, because it was the lore that drew me in, and I used to just go on the fluff. I was like, oh, this sounds really cool, let's buy that. It was crap. And so obviously going from a real deep lore to then obviously going into the Age of Sigmar, and when the basically the end times happened. Now I know what happened, but when it first happened, I mean, you were in the same boat. We were like, what the hell's going on? We don't like what's Age of Sigmar? No, this isn't for us. Like,
this is crap.
I've spent £300 on an army that I've just finished painting, and now I can't use them the way we've been using them. So it was kind of like, but then there was no lore behind it. But now they're bringing out the lore, and we're listening, and we're like reading the stories, listening to the other bits of lore. It's really fleshing it out. And I think with every iteration, every bit that they bring out for this, it is making it. I'm just loving the lore a lot more.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it is just well, as it would do, as you expect it would do. It would expand it. And now I've got something to go, right, this is why this is happening. This is why, for instance, my Dark Elves, not my Dark Elves, why the Daughters of Khaine are now in the 8 points looking for something. I understand that now. And like you said with the realms, they're actually fleshing out the realms as they go.
Yeah.
It makes a reason why they're there, and there's actually 3 people living there, like in the realm of death. There are cities there. It's not everyone's dead. There's not everyone's dead in there. There are living cities in there. It's probably a bit gloomy, but or they worship death a bit more than anything else. But there's because that's what I mean. It to me, it just, when Age of Sigmar first kicked off, it was just like, right, the whole world's dead, everyone's gone. Now there's just these Stormcast Eternals and chaos. And it's like, where's all the little humans gone? Where's all the little people gone? Because not everyone could be chaos or thingy.
Yeah.
But now knowing there's cities in these places, it really works out. But I think we've gone on a bit of tangent about how we love the lore now.
Well, I just mentioned, like you were saying, about the 3 people living around. I would listen to a book. I very rarely read books. I often listen to them. And they're in the realm of death, and there's a character, and her brother's dead, but he's been risen as part of like the eternal guard for their city. So he's dead, and he's a skeleton. He's like a skeleton warrior, but it's her brother, and she can speak to him so he's dead, and like it's just like, oh, that's so people in the realm of death, they revere death, and death isn't the end for them. Do you know what I mean? So like they can be risen to still serve and stuff, and it's like, it was pretty cool.
They are, yeah. No, that is cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
But that's
the
what I love.
The whole thing about the lore in that it is a bit of a it's a bit of a sore point with some people, with like from going from being sort of like Tolkien-esque lore to go into a bit more high fantasy lore. But it doesn't mean that you can't like both, you know. So I think it is a change, but it's a welcome change. Like, it's something new, isn't it? But yeah, like you say, I think we have rambled from a bit of a one there.
Definitely.
So yeah, okay, mate. We'll go on to our next point.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we go on to how we're going to load out our warbands, and why you made your choices on how you built them and what have you. But yeah, so if you want to start off first, mate.
Okay. So as everyone probably knows, you get like some options now with your warbands. I mean, when I had the planes runners from the first kit, I don't think you could have the choice between an axe or a sword. I think that was the only 2 like variants that you could have.
Yeah.
And it was difficult to choose between them because it was either more attacks, less damage, or is it more attack? One was more attacks, less strength, less attacks, more strength. So you was like switch it around, vice versa. So yeah, again, never played it before. I just built one of each. Found out they were both useless and they never did a thing except for one game that we had right near the end of our last campaign. So yeah. So anyway, this time, I feel like they've given you more options. I've got at least two lots of guys that I've got more options with, which is quite good. So what I've learned playing Warcry as well, it's good to have some ranged weapons. It's like it's just not ranged, well, ranged as in like more than 1 inch, but the 2-inch melee weapons I feel work really well because our playing against our friend Vinny, who has the bird people, Corvus Cabal. He has a lot of 2-inch range weapons.
Yeah,
and he is a git, especially when he gets like 2 people near you, because then you've got to charge them, or at least one of them, to fight back. But that's only 1 attack, and I mentioned it before. He's going to sit. You just sit off, aren't you? And then you've got to come to me. Oh, what a shame! But I've already wounded you because I've already attacked you before you could attack back.
Yeah, he can double activate into you. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've decided to go with basically down that route. So I've gone for more long-range pointy sticks than up-close stabby sticks.
Yeah.
Now, I can't see a massive detriment to not doing that from what I've looked at. I've got the cards in front of me. I think, was it you get 1 less attack, and 1 less attack, but it's weaker. Sorry, if you're using a knife, you get 4 attacks, strength 3. If you're using a long range, you get 3 attacks, strength 4. So you're more likely to do damage, in my eyes, because your strength's higher by that 1 point.
Yeah. So you're rolling less dice, but you're giving yourself, depending on what toughness you're fighting, you'll be giving yourself like 17.5%, where it is, percent more hit. More chance of hitting. So I expect this like really close, because the other one you will hit more often, but you won't do as much damage. The other one you will hit less, but when you do, your damage could spike. So yeah. I
mean,
but you've got the option of you've got the better range, so I think it's probably got more utility.
Yeah. So I think this is it. You got for an extra inch in range, you lose 1 attack, but you're doing 3 attacks at range, so they can't hit you back. So you're doing 3 extra attacks. In my, this is how I see it. If any statistician out there is probably going to look at me like really confused, go, "What the hell is this guy on about?" But in my mind, this works better because I get 3 attacks on you at range before you step into me and then attack me, and then I've got another 2 lots of attacks back at you.
Yeah.
So and it's just a pain in the bum. It really is when people like stabbing you. So so I've gone for my basic mooks for the old shadow. What are they called? Shadow blades. Yeah, shadow blade with umbrella spears. Umbrella spears. They've got
umbrella spears.
This is how my dyslexia reads. Umbrella spears. So I've gone with those. Now I believe all the models you get in a warband do make up under 1,000 points. From my quick calculation I did earlier, I might be wrong. So what I've done, I've gone three spears, two daggers for my just general mooks, and then for my, I want to say Doomfire warlocks. They're not. They're Dark Flame warlocks. Not old school. Trying to keep it old school. I've gone for one of each on those. I've gone for the one with the Doomfire ring and one with the repeater crossbows.
Cool.
But the annoying thing is, I've gone the opposite to what the pictures on the cards have done. Because you get 2 cards per per build. I've gone the opposite build to the picture. So the one that with the Doomfire ring is the one with the crossbows. which is going to be like annoying because
Why
I just
wouldn't
thought
you do that?
I just thought the guy who's walking towards you menacingly with his hand like lit with fire
Yeah.
looks cooler than the guy
No, I agree
throwing
with that.
snot at you.
Yeah, no, I agree with
Yeah.
that.
Well, especially as I've gone for green flames to like contrast the they're like purpley pink capes. I've gone for green. So if I did that coming out of his like hand, it would look like he's throwing snot at you as well. So I think that's probably an unintentional way of going around that. Yeah, so I've gone for those. So I've got one of each of those. Yeah, again, good range. Well, we got 3 to 7 inches, 2 attacks, strength 3, 4s and 2s for the Doomfire ring, and
Nice.
crossbows at 8 inches.
That's pretty
8
handy.
inches. See, 8 inches, 4 attacks, strength 3. It's the same as the Doomfire ring. A little bit longer range. But okay, slightly weaker. 1 and 3 damage. But I'm still 8 inches away from you, at least, as long as there's no blizzard or anything going on. So yeah, that's what I've gone for those. And the Slaughter Shade, that's a lovely name, Shorter Slade, I've decided to go for the whip because I thought it looked cooler. Yeah, again, you've got more range, less attacks. So it's range 4, strength 3, toughness 4, 2 and 4 damage. So 2 damage, 4 crit, which is quite tasty, I think.
Yeah, right.
So she can still use that in close combat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, well, you don't want elves learning the hardware as I have. Elves, you do not want to be in close combat as little, or you want them to be in combat as little as possible, or delivering the final blow to anything that comes near them. Yeah. Because I haven't got the minerals to sit there and go into a fisticuff
slug
match.
It out.
No, especially with the dude with his fist on fire. I know you said he's only bringing like fists of fire to a knife fight, but I'm an elf. I'll just set on
looking
fire.
at his card here, they're pretty tasty fists, mate.
Yeah, exactly. So I've gone down the route of trying to do some damage at range before you come in and slaughter me.
Yeah,
that's what I was trying to go for. And obviously the Shroud Queen, she's probably my best melee character, and you don't get to be a Shroud Queen if you're a bit of a pansy. So she should hopefully be tasty enough in combat. But yeah, that's my basic loadout I've gone for. I don't know how. Yet again, it's down to the dice rolls of how well they're going to do. We've both been on the highs and low ends of our dice rolls.
Yeah. As was displayed well in that campaign.
Yeah. Bottom lips were out.
Yeah.
Like jumps for joys and everything. So
did I roll a quad one at one point?
I've gone down the route of what I've seen. I think I've seen you roll a quad one before, so it probably was in that.
Was it in that campaign? I think I did.
Disappointing.
Yeah. No, that was soul destroying. You can have 4 attacks that do 2 and 6. 1.
Yeah. It's like 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm just going on what I don't know how other people have done it. I've literally just gone on my experience with elves and how I've seen other people in our gaming group play Warcry, and I've found that just a 2-inch range weapon is a pain. It's frustrating because you're like I said, you can hit me, but I can't hit you.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, those few games that I played with the Unmade, there's a lot of 2-inch spears in that. And it was just, especially because they're so cheap, you've got so many of them that you're just like you've just pointed out, you're sat 2 inches away. That person has got their 1-inch weapon. They've got to spend an activation to get to you, massively reducing their attacks. So unless they want us to be spending like quads, getting rampage or whatever, barring that, if it's just a straight up fight, they're like straight away they're 50% down on you, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. You're
Yeah.
halving their attacks into you, and I've already done I've done at least one lot of attacks into you before you come into, before you can do any damage to me.
Yeah,
because that's what I always hated.
Cool. Sorry,
that's what I always hated about charging into someone. Because you're like, right, I'm going to run into you, do some damage. So next turn, you've got 2 rounds of attack into me. And it's like, here we go. Right, come on, survive this one.
Yeah.
But now having those 2 inches, puts the ball in their court, sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. So yeah, so you've gone for sort of like evasive, counter punchy range.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think the other thing is, I think with the way I chose my loadout is I was thinking of the vertical boards as well, like basically the terrain that we've played on recently. So I've been looking at, or that's how I imagined the playing. So I imagined that, like, obviously my a dark flame warlock with his repeater crossbows could be sat on top of a building shooting down. You either especially with 8 inches, nice little turret at the top there, you either go up and deal with him, or he's just going to sit up there shooting you.
Yeah, there's pot shooting at you.
Yeah, but obviously I forgot that we're in the catacombs and there isn't any height advantages in this, but there are chasms that I can shoot across.
But they're also in the what's it called, the fated quests. There are not every game has to be played in there. It can be played above ground as well. So in some of the fated quests, it's actually got a mix of your first convergence is underground, your second convergence is above ground, and your third one is underground. And then during the campaign, what we can do as well is, depending on this would be quite cool for the narrative of it, depending on whether you were whatever the game type was, so whatever the victory conditions were, we could then go, do you know what, that's like, I don't know, for argument's sake, say it was you have got to steal some stuff, like steal some stuff off me. The next game can be played above ground, or say that happened above ground, the next game is played below ground because you're trying to get away back into the catacombs to take whatever you've stolen. Do you know what I mean? So we can mix it up. So you've not wasted your choice there. You've sort of hedged your bets, because some games will be in Varanthrax's more. Some games we would have found an opening in the ground and got out, and we're like, oh, there they are. Top. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I do a panties raid and steal your panties, we can then go and fight somewhere else because you've come to claim your underwear back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Bonus. All right. Right. So what have you chosen for your loadout? Let me guess. Fire. Fire is your loadout.
Do you know what? Yes. Yeah. I've no, and I'm not even
this on fire and that's on fire.
I'm not even being silly. I actually looked at the weapons and I thought, there's some of these that aren't on fire. I don't like that. So I picked every weapon is a weapon that was on fire. So but that does actually make a difference rules wise. So like, for example, I mean, what's his face? The Blazing Lord, the samurai fella with the flames on his head and the giant Zweihander. That's what he's got. That's what he comes with. No other options.
Yeah.
That's what he is. Same with the brazen champion with the big flaming axe. He is what he is. But then when you get into the smaller ones, the initiates, you've got initiate with Morningstar, initiate. So the male one, you've got Morningstar, flame burst pot, or hooked axe. I went with a flame burst pot because it is on fire.
Why wouldn't you?
But I think rules wise, I don't know if that actually made a difference there. I think the axe and the Morningstar, I think the Morningstar had a bit more range. Same deal, bit more range, less attacks.
Right, yeah.
But then the female initiate, she came with a brazier weapon or a flame burst. a brazier or a weapon and flame burst pot. So I went with the flaming axe. So the brazier looks pretty cool, but the axe is also on fire. So that was all right for me. So I went with the flaming axe. And what was that? Where's me flaming bird? I've got the card. Here we are. Right. That was more attacks, as far as I remember. Let me look at the. Oh no, that was the only one. That was right. That was a that was a modeling option. That's my bad. That was a modeling option.
Okay.
So it was exactly the same, but I liked the fact that she had a blade that was on fire as opposed to she was just carrying a torch. If the blade had no fire on it,
it seems more threatening.
If the blade had no fire on it, she would have had just the torch. But because it was on fire, it was in. It was the male initiate that was all like the hooked axe thing that had no flames on it. That was out. That was out, and then I had what was it?
In a fire army, if it's not on fire, you're not in.
Yeah, the Morning Star. The Morning Star had
law. If you go on the law, technically he's not worthy because he's got nothing on fire.
Yeah, you are correct. You would be completely correct. So I went with making him worthy, and so I went with a flaming pot because essentially it's a Molotov cocktail on a string. So I was like, I'll have that. But
nice.
The rest of them are they are what they are. Do you know what I mean? You can't really make them any different. It was just the initiates that had a difference. Like the Fireborn, you could give him a different weapon, but it was just aesthetic. It didn't have like a rules difference.
Okay.
So yeah, the male Fireborn. You've got a male and a female Fireborn, and yeah, he is just one range, 4 attacks at strength 4, 2 crits of 4. But I went with the one that had more flames on it. Basically, again, you're seeing a theme.
There is a pattern. I am noticing it.
Again, with the other Fireborn, she's got the Fireborn with Sunblade and Chris, and I think the Chris is like it looks like a frisbee. Do you remember those frisbees that were just a hoop?
Yeah.
It's like that, but like with blades coming off of it.
Is that what Xena Warrior Princess has?
It may be.
I think it's something like that.
I don't know if you can see that, but she's like.
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah, she's got like a little circly thing here. Yeah. That was that basically, but and it's the first. This is the first warband I'm playing that's got a dedicated. I mean, I know they're all they're all priests or whatever. They're like fire priests, but this one's actually the wizard of the bunch, the Inferno priest, and which I'm assuming is a woman because it looks fairly feminine. It's actually got like a what's it called? Like a magical blast attack, which is range 5. Even her staff's range 2. So these are actually quite rangy, to be fair, mate. Like the
it's good to know.
Yeah. So yeah, 2 inches, 2 inches, and it's only basically all the big guys are 2-inch range. The guy with the fists is 1-inch range, obviously, but yeah, the fiery blast 5 inches, 2 and 4 damage. That's pretty cool. Which is quite weird actually, because like this do you know like they're all about rune marks, aren't they? For this.
Yeah.
The rune mark for this is, but it's I can't remember whether it was called magical blast or just blast weapon. But there's items in the Tome of Champions 2020 that give you immunity to these types of weapon.
Right.
Any weapon that's got this little sort of like jaggedy explosion looking rune mark. So because I was looking at it, I think I covered it in the review video that I did, which will be in the list over here somewhere, or may flash up on the screen at some point. Yeah, there's an item that will actually, it gives you, and I was thinking, when would, that's really niche. But then there are a lot of items that give you that kind of attack, or as I've just seen here, this one actually has a magical blast attack. There is things like the
So-
God Summoner and some other wizards have got that as well. I've never played a warband that's got guns, so I couldn't tell you if that
No.
rune mark is the same rune mark that you have for a ranged weapon like Caradron Overlords or Stormcast or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So that might
Okay.
be relevant for that as well. But yeah, so I've basically there's just like you haven't really got a lot of option as to like building them to fight a specific way. Does that make sense? They do
Yeah,
what
no,
they
it
do.
doesn't.
You know what I mean? They come out the gate swinging. And that's
Yes.
pretty much it. But and so my
Yes,
choice
it sounds
was basically
like the
aesthetic. Sorry, mate, go on.
I was going to say that just sounds like what I had with the Untamed Beasts. Is like you could change the aesthetic, so basically you could have more of the same fellas, but just make them stand out. They didn't do anything different. Where I've got the opposite with my warband, and now you've got the opposite of what you had with the Scions of the Flames. Now you've just got different builds, but they're not different traits or anything, different stats. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's like minor differences, but I mean, unless you were going to sit there and grind out some math hammer, where you think, right, if the dice go perfectly, I have got the perfect loadout to give me X amount of damage, which we all know never works because you've got a plan and then you roll a handful of ones, so it doesn't matter. But so yeah, I've just gone with Flamey McFlamey on fireness, but because I wanted to do like as you've seen them, I painted them up. I've gone for that like shadow OSL look.
Yeah.
So I've leaned heavily into the OSL. So I've gone for like a lot of stuff. Anything that could produce a light source, I've gone for that.
Well, this is it. Like we were saying, they are on fire, so you need to be with fire. Only the true worthy are on fire or have something on fire. So it seems a bit weird. It's like we've got everything on fire except for old Kevin over there. He's not worthy, but we just brought him along because we thought it'd be funny to bring the new kid
I
along.
owe his mum a favour, so these are
So
which is quite a good thing.
You've gone down.
The what's it called? The quite interesting thing as well is that the Order warband are the ones wreathed in shadow and darkness, and the Chaos warband are the ones trying to cleanse the world and illuminate it with fire. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's odd. They're like,
have we? I was going to say, have we managed to inadvertently do the opposite color schemes to what our warband should be? Sort of thing.
I don't know. Yeah, I just thought it was a weird turntable type situation there.
Yeah.
Cool, but I think
okay.
You good at that, mate?
all I was going to add is we don't know how these are going to play out at all yet. We've just gone either the rule of cool or what we've experienced previously.
I've got a feeling that mine are going to play like better iron golems.
Yeah.
I reckon these are going to be still. They're fairly. I mean, they're all toughness 4, I think. Yeah, they're all like defense 4 across the board, pretty much, which isn't far off of what the golems were. You had a couple of guys with shields that were 5s, but then these are way killier. Yeah, so I think they've got they've not got too much of the detriment of the iron golems, but they've got like their attack output. I think is going to be ridiculous in comparison.
Yeah, because I'm toughness 3 across the board, except for the Shroud Queen. But yeah, like the damage output is okay. If I spike high, again, there's a lot of 1s, some 2s, basic damage. But if I get some crits out there, because I'm at range, I should be getting that bit more damage across before you get to me.
Yeah,
fingers crossed.
But
yeah, no, that's it. That's cool. I'm happy. Happy
So
with that.
what? How are you going to use like your abilities and stuff?
See, now, like, this is interesting because my abilities, obviously, my basic double ability gives me fly until I end my activation. So now my activation is both so that's my both actions, isn't it? You've got two
So
actions in
read
an
it.
activation.
Read it verbatim.
Yeah. So okay. Double shadow leap. This fighter can fly when making a move action until the end of their activation.
Of their activation.
So am I right? Yeah.
Yeah, because it would say
So am I
it
right
would.
that
Otherwise,
that's
it would
both
say
actions?
yeah. Otherwise, it would say this action. Is that right? So
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
it?
yeah,
I've got
yeah.
on my,
That's how I.
yeah. So I've got like a double that does until the end of this fighter's activation. Yeah. Add
Yeah.
the value of this to the strength characteristic of attack actions made by. Yeah. So it says this fighter's activation, their activation. That'd be if yeah. Maybe if anyone listening's got an idea on that, how they would think it would play, drop a comment.
Well,
But I would
this is
agree with you, Paul, that if it says like here, like mine, until the end of this fighter's activation, add half end of this fighter's activation. It doesn't say this action.
action.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's this
this action.
activation. So when you
Yeah,
activate that fighter, it can do its actions. So same with yours, their activate. So basically, they could go right. I'm going to pop my ability. First action, move. Second action, move, activate, and then your activation is over.
yeah. So
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So basically, that gives me 10-inch fly,
Yeah,
which isn't bad, which isn't very bad for a double. You know, you can spend a whole game getting nothing but doubles.
yeah,
And
exactly. Yeah,
if that gives you the fly ability, which is quite strong, because I've played a few warbands which have either a character with fly or a whole warband with fly, and that's quite tasty.
yeah. I
So
mean, I will say, like this board that obviously we've got the 3D board that's been made.
yeah,
It is claustrophobic.
but then you've got the gaps. You've got the
Oh yeah,
open gaps.
the floor is lava. You've got the lava pits.
So that's
So
what I mean.
you
That
can
will
you
give
will
me
just be able to ignore
options.
bridges.
Yeah,
You don't need a bridge.
for a double,
Yeah,
which
you don't need a bridge whatsoever. But the but I think when you're like in the hallways and stuff, it'll be good to like get out of a door, like get out of a corner or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Get yourself out of dodge. But
yeah.
that when you look at this board, when you put your models down on this board with those walls up, when you haven't got the walls up, it doesn't look so bad. But when you've got the walls up,
Yeah.
you're like, man, this is close quarters. This is real tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, you put the models on it, especially guys with big bases. You're just like, I won't be taking no Ogroid Myrmidon in there. I'm telling you,
He's
no
got a
way.
duck to get in through the
Well,
doorway.
you put him if
Because I
he's
mean,
so big, you put him anywhere near an edge, and someone can just kick him into a pit. That's
you
35
got to
wounds
beat their
gone.
you got to beat their toughness, though, haven't you? I think.
Yeah, well, you both roll a dice and you compare your strength. I think you might have to compare both of you, compare your defense. Either way, you want to be having a high stat because you've got to roll your dice and then add them both together, and then that's your score. The winner, sorry, if you're the one doing the kicking and you win that roll off, you kick them into the pit. If you're
You're
being
Spartan.
kicked, yeah, this is Sparta them down into the pit. And
Yeah.
then if you're the one being kicked and you win, you just don't get kicked in.
Thank
Yeah.
God. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, this is what I've heard some people say about the new boards, because obviously the old board you had all the verticality on it, so it kind of like opened up the board just from that 2D plane. But
Yeah.
because it's now just a 2D plane, and I know a lot of people are modeling walls for it just for the get into the feel for it.
Yeah.
Are getting in the map sort of thing.
Yeah.
but they're saying without the walls, it doesn't. It feels too open because it's just a black line. So you're like, I can see that guy over there. It's like, no, you can't. There's a wall there. Oh yeah, I didn't see that black line. All right, okay.
Yeah,
You know, it takes away, it takes you out of it. But yeah, I think as soon as they get the walls in there, it obviously it will show that how claustrophobic it can be.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like for the I forgot the name of the bird people again.
Corvus Cabal.
Corvus Cabal. I like the way they've changed. I've obviously heard that they've changed the rules for their coring down from height on you now. They've now turned that into like a wall run. So you've still got the ability. They just reworded it for when you're down in the catacombs. Which
they've just changed the mechanic.
The men that live on roofs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, their whole vibe was we start higher up, wasn't it? And if there's no higher up, you've got to have something, otherwise they're useless.
That you lose your whole ability of the army.
Yeah.
Because old Vinny's Eddie the Eagle was a nemesis of mine. Because that thing
forever. He was forever just one shot in your guys, wasn't he?
Yeah, just like I have to go. You forget how far 8 inches is, especially when he's like, right, I'm gonna jump down on you. No, I'm like more than 8 inches away. Oh no, I'm only 6 inches away. Crap, you're right, and you're right on top.
And now you're going to get 3 rounds of attacks into me. Amazing.
Yes. So I mean, this is going to be something that's going to change it. So I mean, even just being able to jump across those fire pits, the fire channels, I can see that being handy to either get to you or get away from you or get to an objective. Because if that's forgotten about as well, it's suddenly going to be like, oh wait a minute, you can get over that, and then all of a sudden I'm in your face. That's what I'm hoping. This is what I'm hoping.
I would say that the you like with the board, you're meant to be in like it's a catacomb. So with that fly, I'd say you wouldn't be able to go over a wall because it's meant to be like a roof. You're in a cavern, aren't you?
Yeah.
When you're outside, when you're on the upside, you'll be able to like just traverse terrain because it's in the open world. But that's meant to be like a room, so you'd be able to traverse a gap or jump over a bloke, but not jump over a wall. I don't know if that's been covered anywhere.
I think the fly. I think the thing is, I think the fly with this is called shadow leap. So I think it's where you like merge into the shadow.
Yeah. And
then you merge out of another. This is how I picture it. So there's a shadowy corner. You skulk off into the shadow, and then you like basically disappear into the shadow, and then come out the other side. I agree with you. You probably can't go through walls, because obviously the wall is.
Especially like we pointed out earlier, before we started recording, the Nighthorn actually have the ability that allows them to float through a wall. There's I think it's a triple or a double. And it's called float through a wall, where they just ignore the walls there.
Yeah.
It doesn't give them the fly rule, doesn't give anything like that. It just states that they can ignore that the wall is there. Whereas that rule gives that rule gives them the fly rule. Did you say?
Yeah. This fly can fly. Yeah.
I mean, I would say that you couldn't jump a wall, as in like a catacomb wall. No. But I would I'd like to know if that's actually correct. Do you know what I mean? Because like I wouldn't want to do you out being able to go across a wall.
No. I think I would like to know that more than you right now. Because but I mean, I can see if it doesn't. I can understand why it wouldn't, because obviously you can't jump over a wall if there's a ceiling there, because there's no gap. But that's something, just a bit more. Even so, even if it just works out when we're fighting above the catacombs in the 8 points, even if it's just for that, I mean that's quite fly is quite handy to especially get up.
It'd be handy in the catacombs, because if you're cornered and you've got an objective, a treasure or whatever, and you need to get out, you can get out. You don't have to fight. You don't have to fight your way through a guy. You can just go, the double. See you later, mate. Off I go. Yeah, that's really handy.
So long, sucker.
Yeah, So even if you couldn't fly over a wall,
Yeah,
it's still got it's still got loads of utility for a double.
So I mean that's not bad. So the next double I've got, Cursed Dart. Pick a visible enemy fighter within 9 inches of this fighter and roll 2 dice. For every 4+, allocate 2 wounds to 2 wound points to that fighter. In addition, if either dice scores a 6, half the movement characteristic of that fighter until the end of the battle round.
Cool.
So that's kind of, so I can half your movement.
Yeah.
So that's I mean,
if someone's
that's
running
quite
away from
handy.
you, you can kneecap them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's basically half my warband can do that. So that opens up a lot of options. And that's 9 inches as well. That's a 9-inch range. So that's tasty.
That's good.
And
like I said, mate, you see how small this board is? That's like, in some sections of the board, that's an entire room.
So yeah, I'm hopefully rolling 6s. I need to roll those elusive 6s. The next double I've got, which can only be used by the Slaughter Shades. Instrument of Cain. When this fighter uses this ability, a fighter can only use this ability if an enemy fighter has been taken down by an action made by them in this activation. When this fighter makes a bonus move, an attack action. So it's basically like my leader's ability for the Untamed Beasts.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember the name of the ability. I never actually got to use that one.
So like
I mean that
beast
one so I never really got to use that one because I never killed anyone and had the dice left over to use it, sort of thing. So it never really panned out well to use it. So that one I don't think I'm going to use that much, considering it's only on the one character that I've got.
Yeah,
which is a bit of a shame.
Very,
I mean,
very
it
situational.
might come in play, but yeah. Then obviously got Harness of Shadow, which is my Doom or Darkfire Warlocks. Basically, Harness of Shadow. This is a triple. Until the end of the battle round, subtract 1 from the attack characteristic to a minimum of 1 of attack actions made by enemy fighters that are targeted. Fighters that target a fighter within 3 inches of this fighter. So basically, if my Doomfire Warlocks are up close with someone, pop this Harness Shadows. I basically make it really dark around me. You then -1 attack for every enemy model within 3 inches of that guy.
Yeah.
So if he's like say, if the catacombs are quite a tight place, if there's going to be a lot of
close
enemy combatants around, triple, that should give my elves a bit more survivability, knocking 1 off your attack actions.
Yeah, that could come in clutch at some points, couldn't it?
And that's until the end of the battle round as well. So that's not just that's like anyone in that 3 inches.
Yeah, that's quite tasty. I like that.
That's quite good.
That's definitely got a lot more utility than the last one.
Yeah. Instruments again, I don't think I'm going to use that much, but yeah, the Shadow of the Harness, that triple could come in handy. My triple, which is basically for everyone in my warband, Dance of Death. Until the end of this fighter's activation, this fighter can finish disengage actions within 1 inch of an enemy fighter. So I can get nearer the objective on a triple. So
yeah, again, that's
really
good.
Slink around you.
Yeah.
I think they're weak as in taking a hit in combat, but I think once they get in combat, you've got a lot of stuff to dance you around or weaken your enemies
as long as you've got the dice, you can really interfere with someone like you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, this is it. If I'm up close where I don't want to be, I've got stuff to get around that as long as I get the dice for it. Yeah. And my favorite one, which is obviously the quad, which only my Shroud Queen can operate, is Ensnaring Darkness. Allocate a number of damage points equal to the value of this ability to all visible enemies within 3 inches of this fighter. Instead, this fighter can draw their shadow blood. If they do so, allocate 3 damage points to this fighter. So damage myself for 3 points on a 20 wound model. Could be, you could get this off twice against. Allocate 3 damage points to this fighter, and a number of damage points equal to the value of this ability to all visible enemies within 6 inches. So basically, if I get a quad 6, I'm dealing 6 damage points to every enemy within 3 inches.
Nice.
If I cut myself for 3, that expands that to 6 inches.
God.
Now 6 inches is quite far.
Mate, it's a 12-inch bubble. That's massive.
Yeah.
That's literally on that Warcry board. That's do you know the center, like the center of the catacomb board, and it's got the big chaos star. That's near on. Looking at it from here, that's basically that whole square. So if she was in there and did that, she would just go just like AOE, like Diablo 3 blow up in the middle. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that is a tasty quad. Now, like there's was it with certain people, if you know they're going to get a dice roll, you know exactly what they're going to. Because I mean, before quads used to always go on. It's not Rampage. What was the universal quad?
Yeah, that is Rampage, the one where you get like an extra move and an extra attack action.
Is it? Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm thinking the Untamed Beast one, Unleash the Beast. Yeah. So I mean, that was pretty much a go-to if you had a quad, because it's like I get to do a lot of damage and move and attack again. So that's tasty, isn't it?
Yeah, it's rolling more dice in there.
Yeah. But this, if you get a decent sized quad off, and there are a lot of enemies near you, I mean, 3 inches is quite big as well. But
especially
if
on this
there's
small
a few
board.
hangers on that you just wanted to kill, if there's just like the you're just trickling wounds off someone, and you're just like, right, I want to do some decent damage to you.
Yeah.
Rolling to get 6 wounds on 6 inches, that's a lot of death.
Yeah.
That could clear up a warband.
That could. If you had like a few lower level guys that were like 8-10 wound guys that had been fighting and they're wounded, and they're 5 inches away, you were like, oh, do you know what? This might put me down to like 10 wounds, but I'm going to do it because it's going to kill those guys.
Especially if they're sat on an objective or blocking an objective.
Oh yeah, definitely. Right, that's
out
cool.
The way. Yeah, so I mean, I definitely think of all those abilities, there is one that I know I'm not going to use, and that's that Instrument of Cain, where I get to make a bonus move or make a bonus move or a bonus attack.
Yeah.
If I kill someone. So that's very situational. Then I've got to have it's on a double. So if I've got a spare double lying around,
you never know. Like you say, it might come up, but it's not.
And someone's, it's not. I've managed to kill someone.
Yeah, it might come up, but you're not going to put your money on it.
I know. I've never used it with the Untamed Beasts, and I've played with the Untamed Beasts a lot. So so never using it with them, I can't see it. Yeah, I can't see it happening with the Shadow Stalkers.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's my view on the old abilities. I just need the dice to play along.
Yeah.
What's your abilities like? Let me guess. Fire.
There's a lot of fiery, strikey, ignitey type words. Engulf, that sort of stuff. But these are all right actually. I've looked through these a couple of times, and like with the Iron Golem ones, that I used throw bolus all the time. That was pretty much, and the one with the guy, what's he called? The guy that had the totem pole that he could stick it in the ground and make everyone +1 toughness around him. I use that a lot. But
yes, yeah.
I can't remember his name now. But it was pretty much those two abilities. I maybe used the one with the ogre could do the living battering ram. If I got a quad 6 and I wasn't in a position to use rampage, I may use the whirling death or whatever it's called. But these ones all seem pretty decent, considering I've got guys because on other warbands I don't know if they would, but these ones I reckon these are going to be all right. So like the first one can use no rune mark on it, so anyone can use it. Fiery Might. Until the end of this fighter's activation, add half of the value of this ability, rounding up, to the strength characteristic of the attack actions made by this fighter that have a range characteristic of 3 or less. Pretty much everybody is 3 or less. There's one thing that isn't, and that's the wizard's staff. What's she called? Inferno Priest. That's her staff. That's basically the only weapon that can't use this. But they've all got really high crit damage. So if I come up against something, say like if we have like some roaming beasts, it's not really going to be that good against you to use all the time because I'm stronger than your toughness anyway.
Okay.
So it's not really going to have that much. You know what I mean? I'm going to be hitting you on 3s anyway. What's the point in making me hit you on even more 3s? So if like some roaming beasts come in or you got a mercenary that was stronger, I've got a way for everybody to chop through that guy's armor, not just specifically on one character, because the Iron Golems have got this ability, but it's on one character. It's on the leader. No one else can use it. Whereas this is a double, and that was a triple as well, I think. This is a double, and anyone can use it. So that's much better in my opinion.
Giving ability to anyone,
it's like everyone can use it, and so everyone can chop down big stuff. So I'm happy with that, especially considering the crit damage on these is all quite good. The next one was double. It can only be used by the what's his face, Brazen Champion. Add half the value of this ability, rounding up, to the damage points allocated by critical hits from the next attack action made by this fighter. This activation that has a range characteristic of 3 or less. So his axe is a 2-inch axe, brilliant, and he does 3 damage normally, 6 on a crit. So if you get a 6, he's doing 9 damage on a crit. And if you're like
that's
it's stupid, that's ridiculous because you can pump their attacks up in the Tome of Champions 2020 and Catacombs. There are ways of bumping your attacks up without using onslaught. So the weapons rack terrain that gives you +1 attack. There's loads of items in the Tome of Champions 2020. Yeah, there's loads of items in the Tome of Champions 2020 that give you +1 attack. There's loads. So, I mean, even normally he gets 3 attacks, and then his crits would be doing 9 damage. Yeah.
Ouch.
And then if you bump,
that's killing a dude.
Yeah.
That's killing one of my guys in 1
6
hit.
is killing someone. So that again, that's not crap. I don't think it has as much utility as the Fiery Might, but that's only because Fiery Might can be used on everyone. What we got next? Right, next. I love these ones. This is like my old faithful Throw Bolus. It's basically Throw Bolus. It's a double, and it's called Throw Firebomb. So you're just throwing something else. Pick a visible enemy fighter within 6 inches of this fighter. Roll 2 dice. On a 4 or a 5, do 1 damage. For each 6, you allocate that many damage points to the fighter instead. So it's Throw Bolus. Just
instead of a bit of rope, it's a bomb of fire.
Well, essentially, it's a flaming bolus. That's what it basically
is. A flaming bolus.
Yeah,
that makes you feel better. Yeah,
I'm going to go with that. Makes me feel at home. You can use that that's on the initiates basically, and I think it's on the Fireborn as well. Yeah, so 4 models out of my warband can use that, which is pretty good. Whereas the Iron Golems one I think was better because anyone could use it. So you're getting a bit of a balance between the two warbands. That's what I'm saying. These are pretty similar to the Iron Golems, but I think they're just more killy. What's it called? The triple. The triple is Inferno, and that's the what's his face? The the Inferno. What's his name? I'll learn the names in a minute. The Immolator.
The fireman. Immolator.
Yeah, the Immolator. He can use Inferno. I know. I remember this is pretty cool. Roll 1 dice for each. This is a triple. Roll 1 dice for each visible enemy fighter within 3 inches of this fighter. On a 4 or a 5, you allocate 1 damage point to the fighter being rolled for. On a 6, you allocate a number of damage points to that fighter equal to the ability. So if he gets a 666 and he rolls a 6, you take 6. Yeah. So I think that's pretty cool.
Heavy output.
Yeah. Yeah, and you roll for each person individually. So again, with these small tunnels, there's going to be a fair few people bunched in. You know, there's going to be whole, like, you know, like your dagger shield hammer, your dagger shield. They're all going to be bunched up, unless everyone starts breaking out immediately. Do you know what I mean? It's weird.
Well,
sorry.
I was going to say a lot of my war bands, basically everyone but the head queen and the slaughter shade, everyone's 8 wounds. So basically you're 6 damage is basically almost killing a person, and that other ability, which is we say 9 damage, is killing all of those outright. So you're essentially, if you get that other ability hitting high, you're outright killing one of my fully unwounded guys outright, or you're at least doing, that's tasty. You are.
Well, even the punchy guy, was it the Immolator?
These are tasty abilities, mate.
Well, the Immolator, in obviously his weapon is his fists. The little rune mark is a fist punching a wall. He's got 4 attacks. He's got 4 attacks, and he's strength 4, and he does 2 and then 5 on a crit. 5 on a crit with his fists.
It is fire, mate. Fire does hurt.
I guess his weapon is on fire. There's going to be a lot of stop, drop, and roll jokes going on, I think, when I'm playing him. The what's the next one? Triple Inferno. That can only be used by the what's his face. I think I've missed one here actually. I've got another double, but I've just completely missed because I got obsessed with
You got too excited.
I did. Yeah.
You did this with your Iron Golems because you just used the universal ones. And I think it wasn't until the end of our campaign you realised there was another one. There was another ability on your Iron Golems ability cards that was good, and you never used it because you just rampaging.
That was it, mate. Yeah, rampage. I'm gonna rampage. The what's it called? The one on this, the beheading strike. Add half of the value of this ability. Oh no, hang on. Beheading strike. No, I did cover beheading strike because beheading strike can be used by the what's his face? The brazen champion, so the flaming axe man. It can also be used by the blazing lord, which is the samurai fella. Or the samurai
dude with the wavy sword.
That's it, the cool guy, him. That can also be used by him. So the 2 guys that have got 2-inch range giant weapons, so a great axe and a great sword, they both get the beheading strike, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But then the other triple, ignited fervor, which can be only be used by the blazing lord. Until the end of the battle round, add 1 to the attacks characteristics of actions that have a range characteristic of 3 or less made by friendly fighters while they are within 6 inches of this fighter. So basically, he pops that triple, and everybody in a 12-inch bubble gets +1 attack.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely make sure I need to get my harness the shadows off to get -1 attack.
Yeah, then, that's what
just get you down to normal.
Yeah, so if we both get a triple, it's going to be like it's going to be like quick draw. Who gets to get their +1 attack off first? Or but yeah, cool. But
Okay.
that's a really good ability, I think, because like again, that board, mate, there's not a lot of room. So any massive area of effect abilities or items are going to be really good.
Okay.
The quad actually doesn't get used by the Blazing Lord. It gets used by the Inferno Priest. So this one, I believe, was actually quite ridiculous because that last ability I think was pretty good. This one,
it was quite good.
Engulf in Flames. Pick a visible enemy fighter within 3 inches of this fighter and roll 6 dice. For each 2+, allocate a number of damage points to that fighter equal to half of the value of this ability, rounding up. In addition, for each 6, roll 1 extra dice, and so on. So if you roll consecutive 6s, you don't stop rolling. So
and I've seen you roll dice, mate. That's possible. That is very much possible.
Yeah.
I've seen you do it.
There have been occasions. I've done it. I've done it twice, to Wongo. I've done it twice to Wongo where I've gone, right. I think one of them was in Warcry where I had 1 attack action after I like double moved into him, and I was like, to kill him, I need a quad 6. I need a quad 6. Here's a quad 6, and actually got it. I called Yahtzee first, Yahtzee, and then actually got the quad 6. And much to his disgust, I did celebrate quite loudly.
You say celebrate, rub it in his face.
And I do believe as well that when I played him, I played his Gloomspike Gits with my Nighthorn, and his Squigs just completely murdered a unit of Gladebrave Stalkers, and all I had was my 6-up Deathless Spirit save, and I had 4 guys left, and I had 4 saves to make, and I got quad 6 again. So yeah, that ability works out pretty well for me.
All I'm hearing is that's going off. That's going to happen until that person burns to ashes.
All I'm hearing is I'm going to get a quad 6, and then you're going to be within 3 inches of me. I'm going to roll 6 2-ups, do what? 18 damage to you, and then get at least 3 of those will be 6s. So I'll do another. That's ridiculous.
Well, what we should do then is if you do that to a person and you kill them and you're still rolling 6s, we put them in the microwave, turn it on, and you just keep rolling, and we turn the microwave off when you stop rolling 6s. And then however the melted they are, that's it. So however melted they are, that's how much you've burnt them.
It's like, I just be going, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. But mate, that's a tasty ability.
That is sharp. That is.
I mean, okay. How often when you roll for what's it called, your initiative roll? How often do you get a quad 6? Not very often. Even if that's on a 5. Even if it's a quad for any quad, and you're doing that many on a 2. Oh, yeah, right. If you get quad 1, you ain't going to use it. You're going to use quad 1 on a rampage. But if you got like a 4-up quad, that's really dangerous ability.
That is.
Yeah.
Well, it's got the potential to be, definitely.
Yeah. That's cool. I mean, that's basically what I've got there, abilities wise. The standard, what they call the universal abilities, always going to come in handy. Always nice to have +1 attack. Always nice to have +1 movement. You know what I mean? Always nice to have rampage. That's just like amazing, that ability. Love it. Respite. I don't know. I know you haven't had a good old look through the Tony Champions 2020, but in there, again, there is a lot of abilities in there and a lot of items that allow you to heal loads. So, because what I found with looking through that book and looking at listening to your abilities and listening to mine, and our what they called our stats on our cards and stuff, that it's going to be, and especially with the close proximity of the board, it's going to be so much more killy that when we're combining the Toma Champions 2020 and the Catacombs, which I don't know if a lot of people have done or are going to do, but we will do that. It's going to be a barroom brawl when we're in the catacombs.
Gotcha.
Because it's going to because we'll be playing a campaign, we'll be rolling for our treasures and our searches and stuff afterwards. When you've got those on top of our ability cards, it's going to be. I think it's going to be good, mate. There's going to be some pretty cool situations. There's going to be situations, Paul, where you will want to flip the table over, but there are going to be ones where I'm going to want to flip the table over because one of us is going to turn the other one inside out at some point.
I think I felt my bottom lip slowly coming out when you read me your quad ability, because I'm just like, oh, I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen at some point to me. It's going to happen. It's got to.
Yeah.
It'd be fun if it did. But yeah, with the 2020 book as well. I mean, we've mentioned before how we're going to obviously add into our next campaign the ability to use consumables without it using an action, because that's going to make all your consumables usable. And it yet again, in a small room, it's going to make it more killy because you'll be there popping like healing potions and not having to worry about I'm going to lose an attack, or do I drink this bottle that may not keep me alive. So I think obviously if we're going to go down that route, it's going to be brutal.
I mean, that I think I again,
it's going to be
absolutely
brutal.
What's it called? That review video mentioned it in that. Like you say, that one rule change, I think, makes the game not entirely different, but much better, because it gives that entire list of consumables. I mean, there were points where you could have used a consumable, like you found out trying to get faster convergence. At one point, you could have used a consumable because the person that used it didn't move, didn't do anything. So they could have used that consumable and not sacrificed their action because they weren't going to use their action for anything anyway. And then later on in the game, that ability that they would have been granted from the consumable would have won you the game. But you don't ever think in vanilla Warcry, as I'll call it, you don't ever think of using the consumables because you're like, well, why would I sacrifice an entire round of attacks just to gain one attack?
Yeah.
Why don't I just use onslaught and get that attack action on both, that extra attack on both my attack actions, and I still get 2 attack actions. So you're not going to use that potion of extra attack or whatever it was. You know what I mean? You're not going to do that. And but like you said, that one thing, just making an what's it called, a consumable, an extra action, or whatever it's called, an extra activation. I can't remember the wording, but basically you use it for free. That's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, mate, it's definitely because it was because I remember that was the convergence that I was stuck on for 7 games, and that was like it could have won me that conversion because it was, I think it was the iron oak seed that gave you the +1 toughness.
Yeah,
and I thought if I just took that, I would have survived.
You would have survived the hits that you took.
Yeah, to get me off the objective. And it's like you said, they never were a thought. You wrote them down on your sheet, and that was it. You go, I've got an iron oak seed, never going to use it.
Yeah.
And then turned out
I'll trade that out.
It
when
was
I get
very useful, but it just I've just got loads of seeds sat in my pouch. So I mean, I think just having, you're going to be keeping an eye on your warband sheet so much more. Going right, what's this guy? Can this guy take a drink of whatever? Can I get an extra attack, extra toughness, extra movement, or whatever it is the abilities give you? The fact that you can use them without being detrimental to your activation, it's going to make it so much better. It's just going to add so much to it. I can't wait, mate. I seriously can't.
Yeah, so it's good.
But okay, so that's
I'm
your
covered,
abilities
mate,
done. We're going to touch on the potential mercs, because obviously I've got access to new mercenaries.
Yeah,
obviously I'm order now.
Yeah, that's
so I obviously can't
different.
use the standard issue ones.
No Ogroid Myrmidon for you, mate.
Oh, I know. Sure, he's chaos. Can he not be turned around?
No, he cannot. He's too horny for chaos. For order.
Too horny for chaos. Okay, so I've had a quick look at the order mercenaries that I'm going to go for. Like I said previously, I do have some Stormcast, so I've got my eye on a Stormcast character. Well, yeah, character Lord, isn't he really?
Yeah.
The Lord Castellan, is it? Yeah, the guy with the lantern, which I have here.
Old Lampy.
Yeah. So I might take him because I've got him. He's painted, and
Yeah.
also it kind of goes back to the lore of why the Shadow Stalkers are down in the catacombs, because they're down there with the Stormcast. So it
Yeah.
kind of comes full circle. It's like, I've got Stormcast. It's in the lore. It kind of works
Yeah.
with the warband. Yeah. So I mean, I had a quick sneaky look at his ability, and his ability, I can't remember what it goes off on. Let me just have a quick look. His ability does give us, his is on a triple. Warding lantern. Basically gives me +1 toughness.
That's going to be quite handy. That's like a really good utility for your warband, because
Yeah.
you're all toughness 3, is that right?
Yes, toughness 3. Yeah, that's it. Leaders toughness 4. But
yeah, that's going to be making me. That's going to be making me
4 elves, and that's
hit you on 4s,
which is that
well,
little
yes,
bit helps.
Well,
I mean,
as we saw with the Iron Oak Seed debacle, it could be quite a lot.
Yeah, that basically works out. But and that is everyone within 6 inches as well. So that's a bubble of +1 toughness.
So again, if you did that in the central chamber on that board, that everyone in that bit, basically your entire warband.
And let's not forget, he's a Stormcast Eternal. He's got a 2-inch range, 2 attacks, strength 5, 3s and 6s. So he's only movement 4, and he's got 32 wounds. So I mean, he's quite tasty.
Yeah, Stormcast, don't they? They're all like, what are they called? Chaos Spawn.
But they are an armored demigod that bleed lightning. So it's kind of like, you expect them to be a bit tough.
But is that your go-to? Is that your go-to potential merc?
For now, because I mean, there are 2 Daughters of Khaine that I can choose, and I believe I do have both of those models as well. But I fancy representing some true order on the board, because obviously we are in realms of chaos. We've done nothing but chaos.
That Stormcast has been sent there to keep an eye on them. The treacherous elves. Yeah. I like that. Yeah, that's cool.
See, it writes itself.
It does, doesn't it?
The Lord writes itself. Especially as he's got the warding light as well. So he's just like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Got the lantern on.
Oi, get out of that shadow."
You've been told. Yeah. Every time he's sneaking off into a shadow, it's just like, "You're going, come here."
Like that, like Homer Simpson into the bush. Just going backwards.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Just like,
yeah.
I can't go much further, but I'll run out of lead.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah, so I think that's the mercenary I'm going to go with, unless I change my mind or buy another Stormcast.
Yeah.
But no one has played with an order warband or anything order related.
No, I think you've had a couple of games with KO, haven't you?
I think I had 1 game with KO, maybe 2, but yeah, it was just a quick run out, and it didn't really pan out that well. So
yeah,
I think that's going to be nice having mixing it up. In our next campaign, it is truly going to be mixing it up. I think with Catacombs, the 2020 book, and now bringing order into the mix,
into the fray.
Very good.
Cool.
So that obviously leaves you. I was going to say that leaves you with all the chaos dudes to play with. So
everything in this book, basically. Right. So I was going with my lore being that the guys, the Scions of the Flame, they're like nomadic within the Varan Thraxis more, because they're basically lost. And so I'm going to go down a bit of a different route. Do you know I used the Gaunt Summoner on a disc before, and I used him just to get a bit of movement because the Iron Golems didn't really feel like they had, and and it just worked out that the was it my final convergence? It was like looking for the Storm Vault. Yeah, that was it. Looking for the Storm Vault, and I tied it in narratively, saying that basically the Gaunt Summoner had turned up, just to try and steal what was ever in the Storm Vault. He was after the magic item that was in there. But I've got that sweet Gaunt Summoner model from the Silver Tower box, and he's massive. And he's all like, he's got these like flame blast attacks and stuff. It's very flamey, fitting in with fitting in with the Scions. He was one option, going with the Gaunt Summoner, just not on a disc, just on foot, because on disc would be a bit ridiculous in the catacombs. They don't feel right that he would be flying around on a disc.
No, that doesn't work in my mind either. That makes sense.
So he's got the Warp Tongue blade, which I have used against you. No spoilers, but it did come up in one of the final games of the Tony Champions campaign that we did. The Warp Tongue blade was pick a visible enemy fighter within 1 inch. Blah, blah, blah. On a 2 to 5, you allocate 1 damage. On a 6, you allocate the number, the number on the dice, and he's got a fair few attacks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pretty cool ability, but he gets to use that. But he's also got like what they call he's got range stuff as well. So his normal weapon just does 2 inch range, even though it's just a dagger. So I don't understand how that works. But he is pretty big. Like the model itself is massive. The model's taller than a Stormcast. He's on a pretty big base as well. But
that makes sense.
And then he's got a Flame Blast, which is only 2 attacks, 3 and 6 damage. It's only strength 3, but I guess if you need to plop some wounds off or whatever. But the other option, which again I have the model for, but we didn't see in the last campaign. The other option was the Ogroid Thermatorge, because he's
the boulder throwy man.
No, not him. They're all very Ogroidy, whatever.
Oh, okay.
That's the Fomeroid Crusher, which we did see. We also saw the Myrmidon. We didn't see the Ogroid Thermatorge, and he is the Tzeentch version of Myrmidon. He's got the big flaming skull on a stick.
Yeah. I know the one now. Yeah.
So he is a flame wizard. Like he's going to be firing out the pink flame of Tzeentch, or blue flame, or whatever. So again, it's in keeping. And it keeps with my lore of them being lost. And basically, I mean, if you know the lore for Silver Tower, you're just lost in the Silver Tower. And like you're just getting led around by the will of the Gaunt Summoner. So the Thermatorge, he's what you'd expect from like an ogre-y type thing. So a lot of wounds. His damage output is far less than the Myrmidon, or even just the Iron Golems ogre. He does 2 and 4 his damage, so it's way lower. He gets more attacks, but then he also has a ranged attack because he's got his wizard staff. So that's basically the same stats as the Gaunt Summoner. But I
was gonna say it's going to be the range that obviously nice bonus.
Yeah, so that's his like bonus. But he also gets a triple brutal rage. A fighter can only use this ability if 15 or more damage points are allocated to them. Add half the value of this ability to the strength characteristic of the next attack action made by this. So his strength would go up to like minimum of 5, maximum of maximum of 7.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change his damage output. But he's 220, so he's cheaper than the Myrmidon. He's got a ranged attack.
He's got his benefits, I think.
He's not as good. He's nowhere near as good. But there's more importantly, he has a ranged attack in this thing, and he looks cool. So I think the Gaunt Summoner is probably going to be the better option because he is way cheaper. His damage output isn't that much different, to be quite honest with you. And he's only got 10 fewer wounds. But he's not a massive Ogroid Thermatorge model. So do you know what I mean? So both those options are quite fluffy and not
complete the family.
Yeah. That's it. I'd have every single Ogroid model painted up then, you see. So that's a good half of these choices are basically just for like painting. So I'd actually get to paint the model up. Yeah. I mean, obviously I've got like loads more options. I wouldn't take any of the Nurgle ones. I don't feel like that would be in keeping.
No.
The Khorne ones, maybe. We've got a couple of those Khorne models flying about. So maybe, I don't know. You got the classic, just the Slaves to Darkness ones. I think any of those work really. I'd like to give the Dark Oath Chieftain a run out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think he's just a cool barbarian looking dude, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he just fits with any Chaos Warband really. But and he's pretty brutal.
He's got the Conan look going on, you know. Why would you not want him?
But I think for lore wise, I think, and I'm going to be, they're going to be my go-to potentials. I think.
Okay, that sounds quite good.
Going down the flamey,
excuse me,
the flamey Zinch route.
I think it's good because you're keeping it on brand. You're going right. Who's got fire? Because I mean, if you are going down the fire route, then obviously someone with giant blue flame is going to be more appealing than some dude with his shirt off, sort of thing. It's like, okay, you got a sword. I got my fist on fire, son. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
So
all you've got is big nipples.
I think I don't want to push your decision. Yeah, I don't want to push your decision. That's how you painted him. But I don't want to push your decision. But I would stick with the whole flame thing. Go down the flame theme because that would just be cool. It makes sense.
Also, I'm thinking I might need an ability that's I might need the ability to reach out and touch you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, because you've got that janky movement and being able to get away from me. If I've got a couple of guys that can throw flaming pots or shoot you with some kind of like magic blast, then I've got, even though you can get away, I've still got a chance of being able to reach out and touch you.
Yeah. No, that's a good shout actually.
It sort of covers all bases, you know. I've got like the lore, I've got the rules, I've got the utility. So
you got a man for each job. No, that makes perfect sense, mate. Like I say with the Stormcast, I'm going for the Broken Realms lore on it, and for the models that I have painted. So it does
also fit utility for you as well, though, because your guys are all fairly weak and low wounds. He's a tank that makes everyone else around him tougher.
Yeah,
that pays dividends in for your warband.
Yeah, and we're also in the catacombs where it might be a bit dark, so I need a light to see where I'm going.
Yeah. There is a universal ability in the catacombs book. Like, do you know, like you got your standard universals. There's a few standard universals for the catacombs rule book, or rules for the board rather. And one of them is lurk in shadows. On a double, you can, if you're within 1 inch of a wall, you lurk in the shadows and you become, you are not in line of sight to anyone who is out of 6 inches of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
we've both got the abilities that pick people in line, pick visible enemies. If you think he's gonna do an Inferno Blast in a minute, hug the wall.
Hug the wall. He won't see me. If I close my eyes, he can't see me.
Yeah, that's how it works. That's how my son does it.
Yeah, that's how they do it, isn't it? It's like, oh bless you. I can see you, mate. You're still right there.
I suppose that would tie us into our next subject, how the terrain's going to play into this, because that is a way that the terrain will play into it. There's a lot of walls in that on that board, so
yeah. I
you know.
mean, I think, yeah, I didn't realize that was an ability you could do. You could hug the wall, get away
Yeah,
from it.
well, it's called lurk in shadow or something.
Lurk in shadow. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, yeah, the terrain. You've got narrow corridors. You've got doorways which you've now got to deal with. And yeah, and then you've got, so it's just trying to get in the right position to see someone, to do an ability, especially if you've got, for some reason, when you're in the catacombs, they've given a lot of your warband range now. So I've got range where that would be an ideal out in the open, but now I've got crossbows, but now I've got to try to get in the way of seeing you, to get it off. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be difficult to see how it's going to play off, but I just know it's going to be different.
I will say that looking through the again in the review video, I actually covered how you draw line of sight in this game.
Okay.
Is right. You don't draw it from the guy, so you don't draw it like, oh, my man's like my guy can't see your guy. You draw it from the base, because the example that they give, it says if any part of, like, let's just, I don't know what models they use, but let's say if any part of Paul's guy can see any part of Tom's guy, he can draw a line of sight. And the example they give is a line that goes from a part of the base to another part of to a part of the enemy model's base. It doesn't go from the enemy guy's eyes or whatever.
Right.
It's literally the base. So a part of the base that doesn't have your foot on it is still a legitimate area to draw a line of sight from.
So not like Necromunda then, where it's literally, if you could see the model. Okay.
Yeah, there's no arcs of fire. There's no arcs of fire or anything like that. It's literally, if part of your base if you can get draw a straight line from part of your base to a part of their base, you can see them.
I like that. That's straightforward.
I think
no messing around.
Yeah, you're not going to get any dispute there. If you've got a laser pointer, at the very worst, if you've got one of those see-through rulers that you get free in the box, turn that on its side so it's like, it's at a right angle to the board, and hold it over. And if part of it touches part of the other one, done. That's it. You can see.
That's I like that. That's nice and clean. There's no, oh, I can just see a bit of his foot, so that means no, I can see his base. Because I mean, essentially, you could play this with discs, couldn't you? You could play this game with just tokens, and just have a name written on there. It's just the fact there's a cool
model on top that you can make a story about.
Yeah, a cool model on top, which you can, like you said. So I mean, I like that. It's just so clean. So there's no getting down on your knees trying to get the eye level of them. How much of? Yeah, perfect. Love it already.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's cool.
that again, with the walls being in there, with the 3D walls, that's going to be even easier to go like, oh no, I'm going to have to move an extra half inch out, or whatever. The terrain, the scatter terrain stuff that you're painting up. So the like the cat, what's it called, the grave, coffin, the coffin thing, the weapons rack. I think all of those, they're going to be, the way you deploy isn't like, right, let's put everything on the board. You both get X amount of terrain to put down, each take it in turns deploying that terrain, and then so if you think, you know what, I'm really going to want an extra attack at some point, I'm going to choose to deploy the swords, the weapons rack. Or you think, right, I really want to be able to pull a fast one and deploy in the center of the board at some point, so I'm going to deploy the trapdoor thing, whatever it's called, the escape hatch. I'm going to put that down.
Yeah.
They're all going to be, I think that's going to be almost a mini game in itself at the beginning.
Okay.
He'll be like,
So,
right,
yeah.
I
Okay.
don't like the fact that he's got his guys over there. I'm going to put a closed door there. And then you're going to be like, well, I'm going to put a closed door there. And then I'm going to go, well, I'm going to put a lever there so I can get out of it. And you know what I mean? But do you really want to be playing that game? You want to go, well, you've put a closed door there. What do you do now? I've put this in the middle of the board and I'm going to pop out of it at some point. Or
Yeah.
I know there's an objective there. It's going to become a choke point. I'm putting the extra attacks. I'm putting the weapons rack there. So there's a very high likelihood that whenever we start rucking in there, there's going to be +1 attack flying about. You know?
Yeah. Okay, no, that's cool.
So it's going to be quite a cool thing.
I can see us getting drawn into that whole. Oh, you've put a door there. I'll put a door there then. You know, like I can see us getting drawn into that, going, fine, I'm going to block you off.
Because you can break through the doors. You don't have to have a lever, but you have to like. There's a double ability breach door, and it's basically low strength guys aren't going to get through it. Well, that's a lie. They have quite a low chance of breaking the door down. The people that are going to be getting through there are going to be the people like my Blazing Lord, my Blazing Champion, any kind of ogre character, stuff like that. I think your guys will struggle to be busting down doors, but if you walk out into like the middle, you need to get round. You need to get round a certain way. You've got the movement. You've got fly. You've got a double to make you fly across the thing. You don't have to get to the bridges. Do you know what I mean? So it's going to be, it's going to be. I think that's going to be a mini game at the beginning of each game. Like, right, what's he going to put down?
Yeah.
The deployment is a bit odd. You've got prescribed. I know in like regular Warcry, you've got your deployment card, and it had like this area you can put your dagger. This is where your shield goes, and whatever, and what round they came on. In this, there are obviously entrance doors on the map. And you've got your dagger, your shield, and the hammer. One of those three groups comes on turn 3. The other two start on the board, but they come on at a particular doorway. And it's not always right. This is for both of us. Our dagger and our hammer are on first, and then our shield comes on last. Some of them might be your dagger and shield come on, but my hammer and my dagger come on, and then and then the remaining ones come on turn 3. Every game is 5 turns. So do you know what I mean? So they've like these things. Like you look at some of the rules and you're like, oh, that'd be a bit crap, but then it might be in regular Warcry, but in this, it's always 5 turns. It's always 2 groups come on at the beginning. 1 group comes on turn 3. Do you know what I mean? So, and it's not always equal. So it's not always like I said a second ago. It's not always dagger and shield. Both of our hammers come on. Right. It's mixed up. So there's going to be points where you're like, oh, I think I've messed this up because my dagger, my shield with all my hard stuff in it doesn't come on until turn 3. And it comes on, but they can come on at any doorway, I think.
Okay. So you've got a bit more utility, even though they haven't come on. Okay, no, I mean,
so you can put them where they're needed, I suppose. In that regard. But I think the way that you deploy, and the way that you actually set the board up, is going to throw a few spanners in the works, you know.
Oh mate, why can we not play this? Because this just sounds like it's opened up the game completely different, but still within the setting of the skirmish game.
Yeah,
I mean they've really sat down and really thought this new way of playing out. By the sounds of it, it just adds a whole new depth to it.
I don't know if other people may get the same experience that we get, because we will be using the Tome of Champions. So we will be getting all these crazy magic items. We will be getting, and yours will be order specific, and mine will be chaos specific. And then we'll be doing. I don't know whether we're probably because we're playing catacombs. I'll probably do one of the fated quests out of the catacombs book. So so it's in keeping. But and I'm sure you will as well, because they've got the they've got a load in there that we can do, but like I can't recommend enough using the Tome of Champions, because I think a lot of people might play Catacombs and be like, wow, it's the same as Warcry, but you're underground. When you play any of them with the Tome of Champions, it becomes do you know what I mean though? Like, you know, your guys, if they die, who cares? You just get another one back. You know, like, oh, I got a glory. Well done. What does that mean? Whereas you play it with the Tome of Champions, and it adds in so many more mechanics that just spice it up, don't they? Especially when you start the list of stuff in that Tome of Champions for like items and stuff are mental. They've added a few different mechanics in there that are like, it's not just like, oh, this is another thing that gives you +1 toughness, but it's called the steel bark seed. Do you know what I mean? It's not, they haven't just renamed crap and given it the same ability. They've actually put different mechanics in there.
I mean, because like back to like when we were playing vanilla Warcry, it was getting very tedious or very samey, wasn't it? Because it was just like, oh, they're dead. I won't even scrub their name off. I'll just clear off any item that they had, any destiny, and they're back. What do you do?
Yeah.
And I did notice when we were playing, obviously the campaign for the channel, and we were playing the campaign in our gaming group, it brought a passion back for it, because it was actually, you know, things actually meant something, because it was like, oh no, they're gonna die, please don't die, oh they're dead. And it's like, if you, especially
the injury table,
not only if you had, I mean, it's not only if you had one of your guys die, it was if you managed to true death someone else's. So if you managed to true death your opponents, you're like, what, is that guy dead? Oh, it's like he was a nice little rub in every time. And then you see them next week, and then you'd be like, oh, how's that guy doing? Is he? Oh no, he died, didn't he? I killed him. Yeah, that's right, I killed him outright. You know, it's just this little thing you can rub in.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Where beforehand it was like, oh, I killed him. Oh, and he's back. Oh, okay. It didn't feel like he'd done anything. Where this truly felt like you were pushing the game along. And I mean, I think the vanilla way of doing it was a good way if you just want to have a quick taste of it. But you couldn't go campaign to campaign with it. So this 2020 stuff, just it's adds so much. And I think obviously, if you do mix it up a bit, like where we did at the end of our campaign and gave ourselves all of the abilities that, you know, that we could unlock, so we were both playing with our toys, that just made it more fun. So I think obviously going into the catacombs with that ability, or with that way of playing, plus now adding in the fact that you can have consumables without actually dipping into your actions, it's gonna make it so much. I think it's gonna make it not only the games quicker, but fun, because you get to use stuff that you're holding on to. So now not only they in the consumables and perishables that you could get, not only have they expanded them, but now you actually going to be hunting for a good item to have, because now you can actually use it, because the perishable ones were always good because they're always in play. But you're going to be hunting for those decent consumable ones, going, I want to get this consumable because that will help me out. So now your search rolls are going to mean more, because you can actually use the consumables. So
well, think about it like this, right? Mate, one of the most common consumables that we got was the iron oak seed. Once you've eaten it, you are +1 toughness for the rest of the game. What's the first thing you're going to do if you've got a guy with an iron oak seed? Right, I'm going to eat my iron oak seed. Right, I'm now toughness 5 for the rest of the game, and I've still got 2 actions. Instantly, that has just made that iron oak seed infinitely more useful. You know what I mean? 'Cause before you would never eat it. You'd be like, no, I want to move twice. I want to fight twice.
Yeah.
I want to do stuff.
Yeah,
I don't want to
exactly
be stood here eating an iron oak seed. You know?
Yeah, I mean, especially when you had the deployments where for you as being an Iron Golem guy as well, when you're stood on the edge of the board, knowing that you've got to then trudge all the way across to the either middle or all the way to the other side to get somewhere. You're not going to sit there, lose one of your, I mean, what do you have, 4-inch movement?
Yeah,
lose one of your 4 or 5-inch movements. Yeah, you're not going to lose 4 inches to
gain one on my next activation.
By the time you get there, it's just it's
that original rule. That original rule, they sort of dropped the ball a bit, didn't they? The original.
I mean, I could see why they did it, because it made you think, am I going to use this? Am I going to do that? But it never really did make you think, because you're just always going to take your actions.
Yeah. Your choice wasn't a choice. It was. Yeah. I'm not going to use it.
It was there. You're never going to use it. So yeah, I think that's going to make it completely change it around. So I mean, I think I mean, we have been chatting for 2 hours 20 minutes.
Wow.
At the moment, so yeah.
Yeah, we have.
So I don't know. So
it's probably a good place to end it then, because that was pretty much the last subject, was how we're gonna play the campaign, and you could probably sum that last half an hour up into we are going to use the Tome of Champions 2020 and the Catacombs book. There you go.
And if you're not using them, get on and use them.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. So we'll call it a day there then, mate. And
I mean,
what?
I was gonna say, I mean, that's I'm just gutted with the way things are at the moment. We can't get out and play, can't come around and play. I mean, it's just gutting, because especially now we've spent 2 hours 23 minutes talking about it. It's really got my blood like surging to play it. I was just like, I just want to throw some dice and move my painted models that I haven't actually played with yet.
Us prattling on about it has made it's lit a fire under me to get that terrain painted.
Hey, lit a fire.
Hey. I didn't even mean to do that. Oh, I'm so cool.
But yeah, okay, right, let's wrap it up then.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up there then, mate. So if anyone made it this far, well done. Give yourself a pat on the back. And we will see you in the next episode of DamageCast.
See you later.
The enemy of the bowling man is the overhead light.